What do these three children have in common? They all three have diseases that are preventable by vaccines. I have worked in a family practice doctor's office for over 5 years. I have given hundreds, if not thousands, of vaccines to kids and adults. Thankfully, I have never seen anyone plagued with these diseases. Today, I am going to persuade parents and parents-to-be to vaccinate their children. I will discuss some of the important reasons to vaccinate and some of the risks of not vaccinating. I will also discuss some of the concerns and misconceptions that parents have when they decide whether or not to vaccinate their children. So why vaccinate? Serious diseases are still out there. Viruses and bacteria that cause vaccine-preventable diseases still exist. Some are prevalent in different countries around the world. In 2008, 5 children in Minnesota were hospitalized after being diagnosed with meningitis. This was caused by a severe case of HIV. One of those children did not survive. Travelers can unknowingly bring diseases into the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a measles outbreak in 2005 and 2006 started in an unvaccinated group of travelers that had returned from Romania, where they were exposed to measles. Vaccination can mean the difference between life and death. The National Foundation for Infectious Diseases claims that vaccine-preventable infections kill more individuals annually than HIV, breast cancer, or traffic accidents. An estimated 50,000 adults die from vaccine-preventable diseases each year in the United States. Vaccines protect future generations. Vaccines have eliminated many fatal and crippling diseases that were present just a few generations ago. Smallpox is an example. Children no longer receive this vaccine because it has been eradicated. As we continue to vaccinate, hopefully many other diseases will be eradicated in the future. Immunizations can save your family time and money. Lost time at work, medical bills, and long-term disability care are just a few examples of how vaccine-preventable diseases can take a financial toll on a family. Vaccines are actually usually covered by insurances. So what are the risks of not vaccinating? Well, first, children are at risk for catching a vaccine-preventable disease. Diseases such as influenza, pertussis, which is the whooping cough, and chickenpox are still a threat in the United States. These diseases can potentially be deadly. Children can transmit vaccine-preventable diseases throughout the community. Unvaccinated children can pass diseases to babies who are too young to get the vaccines. Unvaccinated children can pass diseases to children and adults who cannot be immunized due to conditions such as severe allergies, medical conditions such as leukemia, diseases that compromise the immune system, or even medications that compromise the immune system. Children may be excluded from school or daycare. For the protection of themselves and others, unimmunized children may be required not to attend until during a disease outbreak. Now, some common concerns and misconceptions about vaccines. According to an article at www.immunizationinfo.org regarding vaccine misinformation, fear of vaccine-preventable diseases has diminished, while concerns about vaccine safety has increased, even though a number of the vaccines are even safer than decades ago as a result of medical research. Now, one of the number one concerns is that the MMR vaccine causes autism. Because the first dose of MMR is typically given around 12 to 15 months, and the first signs of autism normally appear between 15 and 18 months, there is a concern that the two have a possible link. There is no evidence that this vaccine causes autism. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the Institute of Medicine, and the CDC have released extensive reports concluding that there is no proven association between MMR vaccine and autism. Another misconception is that multiple vaccines can overload a child's immune system. There is no evidence to suggest that childhood vaccines can overload a baby's immune system. Babies are exposed to millions of viruses and bacteria on a daily basis. Exposure from a vaccine is minuscule compared to that. Another misconception is that natural immunity, or getting the disease, is better than getting the vaccine. The risks of natural infection outweigh the risks of immunization for every recommended vaccine. Some vaccines, such as the HIV and the tetanus, provide more immunity than the natural infection. According to an article on www.historyofvaccines.org, the World Health Organization credits immunization efforts for a nearly 75% reduction in the global measles deaths from 2000 to 2007, but it's estimated that the disease still causes nearly 200,000 deaths per year. Paul Offit, Chief of Infectious Diseases at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, states, "Parents who have never seen their children gasp for breath no longer fear these diseases, and in some cases are delaying or skipping immunizations. Many parents who reject vaccines do so because of the mistaken notions that they cause autism or overwhelm the immune system." Today, I have discussed a few important reasons to vaccinate and also some of the risks that parents take when they choose not to vaccinate. I also discussed some of the concerns and misconceptions that some parents have when making this decision about whether or not to vaccinate their children. I would like to conclude this speech with a few pre-vaccine statistics. According to the CHOP website, each year, 10,000 children would be paralyzed by polio. 4 million children would be infected by measles. 500 of those children would die. 15,000 children would be infected by meningitis caused by HIV. Many would have permanent brain damage. Thousands of infants would die from pertussis, which is the whooping cough. The bottom line is that immunizations are the best way to protect kids from preventable diseases.